Welcome back to another video. As you can read by the title, you're thinking about asking or telling one of your friends or family members that you have depression. So, first off, I want to say congratulations. I'm so excited for you guys. I remember the first time, I had told somebody that I had it. Had gone to therapy for a couple months at that point before I decided to tell my first person that I knew. So I just want to say congratulations, guys, on that step. Even if you're just finding this video because you've had thoughts of telling people, you just haven't gone there yet. That is a huge step, even if you can't understand it yet. Just the thought from I can never tell anybody to maybe I can tell this person is so huge, because in this step of recovery, it makes it to where you go from, like Brene Brown says in her videos, where it's like a shameful thing, where it's like, if anybody finds out about this, I'm not worthy of love and belonging kind of thing. And once you make that change of like, well, maybe I can tell this person will, I can tell them and it's safe, which really just means that you feel that you can tell that person and they're not going to really judge you or make you not want to talk to you anymore. Excuse me. And I kind of just want to share my experience with it. The first person that I told, and just kind of go over that with you, and also maybe give you some advice on how it went for me, and also looking back of how it went, being able to now, 20/20 vision, right? Being able to analyze it from where I am now as opposed to the advice I would have given myself before telling the first person. So let me just get right into it, right? So I remember it well. I was texting one of my friends for a long time, and she's really my only friend at that point, and I actually drove up to see her, to tell her. She lived in a different state, so right next to her. I live in Las Vegas and California, so not like a ridiculous drive. It wasn't like 3 days long or something like that. But it was a drive, and I remember the whole drive up there, I was super nervous, like, oh my God, I'm finally going to tell this person. I mean, obviously I had told my therapist this, like, probably 3 sessions. We had talked about it, how it was going to go, what I was going to say, her response and everything. And, I finally get there, we said hi and all that stuff, and she was putting some stuff away, and I was getting ready to tell her, obviously, like, very emotional for me, and I started crying a little bit, and and then I finally told her, right, and told her what was going on and why I was feeling depressed and why I had the suicidal thoughts and everything. And I'll never forget her first response. The first thing that came out of her mind, her mind, stupid ass. The first thing that came out, the first thing that she said to me was, she goes, "That's it? That's what you've been complaining about?" In that moment, it was so terrible. I had said to myself, whoa, like, man, like, in that one sentence, she shot down every single thing that I had essentially had suicidal thoughts about, and said that it wasn't even a big deal. And in the moment, it hurt. It was very, hurtful to hear those words. And I remember just trying to finish the story and kind of hurry up and get out of there, because it was just a very terrible situation. And I remember going back after and going back home and talking to my therapist, and as soon as I told her that, obviously therapists are not supposed to, have any reaction, but she did, open her eyes, and she's like, man, and then I told her, I was like, it seemed like with that sentence, it seemed like she just shut everything down, and she was like, yeah, that's exactly what that sentence was. And I remember talking to my therapist about it, and, again, I'm not telling you this to scare you from telling somebody. I think this is just a very I guess an interesting thing that happened to me, but also how I can help you guys is, in hindsight, you have to understand something. And I know when you're going through depression, it's tough to understand it. So I kind of want to make this video to help some of you. Is it's not fair for you to expect a positive response. And what I mean by that is, the person that you're going to tell this to is more than likely probably maybe not in the same situation as you, and they don't know what you're going through, they don't know what you're feeling. Now, if you were to tell somebody and they say, oh man, I love you so much, and give you a hug, right, and say, I don't know what to say in this moment, I love you, and you're my friend, and I really appreciate you telling me this. That's like a perfect response, right? Any of you out there, you probably have had that conversation with yourself, like, what would it be like to tell somebody for the first time? That's probably exactly what you want, right? You just want someone to be there and say, I love you. But you have to understand that the person you're speaking to, it's not fair for them. They're not a licensed therapist. They're their own person. They have had their own experiences, right? They've had their own, trials and tribulations through their lifetime. So they may be, they may be responding the best way that they know how. And that's all I wanted to get across is it's not that you should be afraid to tell somebody now that you've been thinking about it and ready. It's more just don't let the response affect your emotional state. The person that you're telling it to, and her as well, she may have said that because in the moment, her mind might have went to, oh, Vinny, it's not that big of a deal. You'll get over it real fast, right? So she might have thought that that was the best way to handle it because in her mind, it's like, oh, well, Vinny, you'll get over it. It's not even that big of a deal, right? So, but to me, that's not what I wanted to hear in the moment. But again, in hindsight, understanding, psychology on a better level than I did 2.5, almost 3 years ago now. And I understand now that, everybody's different, so I guess I just wanted to make this video kind of a quicker video and just say, number one, I'm very excited for you. This is terrific news, even if you can't see it yet. I promise you it is terrific news. And secondly, I want you to understand that regardless of what the person you tell says, whether it's good or bad, the only thing that matters is now you have made another step to say to yourself, depression is something I have, it's not who I am. And it's something that you want to share with people so they can help you. And, I promise you, one thing is if you make that step and you tell someone, regardless of their interaction, right? And as you could tell, mine was not what I had expected, not what I wanted. It still helped me tremendously. It made telling the next person much easier, And that's what I want to kind of stress to you guys in this video is it's not a sign of weakness to tell somebody that you're not okay, right? It's not, it's not a bad thing to tell someone, And I know from personal experience, I know before I told someone, I didn't want a negative response either because, it's like, oh, how am I even going to live with that if it's a negative? Well, I got a negative. Very negative. Like in the moment, it really hurt. I'm all smiling, laughing now because I'm okay, right? Like I'm doing great. And I just want to help some of you out there, who are maybe going through the same thing I was at that point. And, like I said, I just want you to know that their response, do not get so tied up with it because they may be responding in the best way that they know how. So that's the end of the video. Gonna end it here. And I just want to end it with this. If nobody has told you this today, if nobody's told you that they love you, just know that I love you. Thank you so much for watching the video.